For decades, the presence of an American military base in the Middle Eastern desert carried an undeniable assumption. These installations were viewed as impenetrable fortresses, operating with near total immunity from local threats. That assumption has come under scrutiny. Recent investigations reveal a coordinated series of Iranian precision strikes that have successfully pierced these defensive perimeters. Intelligence maps currently track compromised defensive assets across 8 different countries in the region. Look at Camp Buehring in Kuwait. Once a secure staging ground for heavily armored divisions, the installation recently sustained direct hits that left central operational hubs in a state of ruin. On the ground, conventional forces are left to react. Troops trained for asymmetric combat are suddenly exposed on flat terrain, navigating incoming fire they cannot track until the moment of impact. The historical immunity of an American garrison has transitioned into a contested dynamic, where these regional hubs now function as fixed, accessible targets. The central strategic mystery for military planners is how a heavily sanctioned Iranian military managed to navigate past the most sophisticated airspace defense networks in the world. The capability traces back to early 2024 with the acquisition of the Chinese TEE-01B satellite. This technology provided Tehran with independent, high-resolution mapping capabilities. Instead of firing blindly, they could generate pinpoint coordinates for static targets across the desert. These precision strikes hit previously unreachable American intelligence assets, resulting in significant financial and strategic losses. Primary targets included advanced early warning systems, key radar networks, and Boeing E-3 Sentry aircraft. The vital eyes in the sky were neutralized before they could detect the incoming volleys. By utilizing an outsourced intelligence network, Tehran has narrowed the technological distance that previously shielded American assets from direct precision fire. The physical losses on U.S. bases triggered an immediate diplomatic response in the surrounding capitals. In Saudi Arabia, defense ministries watched the American systems fail and are now assessing their own borders against this precision threat. This realization is forcing regional allies to recalculate. As the American sphere of influence retracts on the map, neighboring states are weighing new security arrangements out of self-preservation. The perceived erosion of the American security umbrella leaves a power vacuum that adversarial nations are already moving to fill. The most significant casualty of these strikes is the foundational trust that has anchored American alliances in the Middle East for decades. Looking at the political reality in Washington, however, the focus remains on diplomatic strength. President Trump's public posture remains confident, downplaying the scale of the Iranian strategic threat. The official line from the administration insists the United States military remains locked and loaded, asserting that Iran's offensive forces have been severely degraded. Behind closed doors, aides are drafting a strict, final determination regarding the parameters of the latest nuclear agreement. A primary non-negotiable point is the total unearthing and destruction of specific radioactive materials, referred to as nuclear dust, to be overseen by the International Atomic Energy Agency. The administration also demands that the Strait of Hormuz be immediately opened without tolls and cleared of any naval mines. Traffic must flow through this choke point without interference. If this lane is obstructed, the resulting bottleneck halts global shipping networks entirely. Furthermore, the draft insists that no frozen Iranian funds will be exchanged or released until further notice. Washington is dictating rigid diplomatic terms, even as their negotiating leverage in the region is challenged by these new defensive vulnerabilities. The administration is attempting to manage this crisis against a highly restrictive domestic timeline. The election calendar creates a shrinking window for authorizing any kinetic military action or potential war. While Washington debates policy memos and calculates political optics, independent defense analysts are tracking a different reality on the ground. Despite official claims of degradation, records show Iran retains at least 60% of its vertical ballistic missile launchers, standing fully operational. In addition to the missiles, 40% of their offensive drone swarm remains in reserve, supported by logistical backing from Russia and China. The divergence between Washington's political projection and the physical vulnerability of its forces highlights a widening gap between administrative policy and tactical reality.